Hey guys, it's Marilyn from Pilates on Hudson. Today we're going to do a little bit of work on our feet. So what we're going to look at today is just some basic exercises that can start to help you bring some awareness to your feet, some dexterity, some movement to your feet. If you have a lot of pain and stiffness in them, this could help. It's not the primary cause necessarily, but having a lot of stiffness in the feet and particularly having a lot of weakness in both the foot and calf muscles can lead to a lot of dysfunction. So the first thing we're going to talk about is I want to talk about what's going on actually just with our calves here and the muscles that when we lift our heel up like this, right? We're actually lifting because we're engaging our calf muscles. So there's two ways that people think about when they go up on tippy toe or when they move their foot. And most of the time people think that they're pushing, like if you think about pushing on the accelerator for the gas pedal for a car, you think about pushing down from the ball of the foot, right? You're pushing with your toes, you're pushing into the ball of the foot. But the mechanism of the heel is such, and the ankle is such, that to move the foot into what's called plantar flexion, you actually have to raise the heels upward. So it's a contraction of the calf muscles that causes that movement there. Now, there are definitely some muscles underneath the bottom of the foot that will take the foot itself into plantar flexion, even more so. As you can see when I'm pointing my foot here, I have quite a bit of an arch. And used it quite extensively when I was dancing. But that movement there is the result of these muscles. And these muscles in the calf, especially a very, very deep muscle in the calf called the posterior tibialis, which I like to call the chicken wing muscle, it has a lot of responsibility, and it often is primary in losing strength and function. So we're going to see if we can work on that a little bit here. So you're going to just try to get the big toe joints together and the heels are resting, and you're sitting in a comfortable seat so that your knees are at approximately 90 degrees. And we're going to draw the heels up away from the floor and put them back down. We're going to draw the heels up away from the floor and put them back down. Now when I'm doing this, you'll notice my toes are very relaxed. So I'm not clenching with my toes, I'm not pushing with my toes, but I'm really just trying to pull the heels up as high as I can go, right? Without any pain or discomfort. So you may find for you that doing this even a little bit is very uncomfortable, and you may find that doing it, you can do it all the way up. You may find that you're starting to cramp back here, and that's actually not a bad thing. And specifically what I'm looking for is a very thin line of what I call fire that goes right up the inside of the back of the calf. That's firing that posterior tibialis. That helps to lift up that arch. That helps to pull your foot up into tippy toe or releve, as we say in dance, right? Coming up as high as we can, right? So a good way to start warming up is just doing that. And it's nice to start it if you have very deconditioned calves and feet problems, to start it from a sitting down position rather than standing up, because this way you don't have the full weight of your body, right? You're really just trying to do it isometrically without actually conveying movement or lift, okay? Now, in addition to that, we want to see if we can do the exact opposite. So now we're going to work dorsi-flexion here. And that is just lifting the front of the foot. Very simply, just lifting the front of the foot, okay? And why is this important? This is important because anytime we're walking, the first thing we need to do when we take that step forward is we need to pull the foot up off of the floor, right? And also, even if we're driving, right? We need to be able to move our foot by pulling it off of the pedal and moving it to the brake and back, right? So for walking, for driving, this is a very important movement. And again, what they see in people as they get older is that they lose the ability to dorsiflex, to lift up the front of their foot. So just sitting in a chair and practicing doing this is very, very beneficial. Okay. So now we're going to go on to a little more challenging exercise called toe taps and heel taps. So we did the heel raises, we did the toe raises. We're going to pull our toes and curl our toes as best we can. Now I understand, actually maybe we should precede that. Just see if you can do this. Just scrunching the toes underneath you. Challenging, right? But the more you practice trying to do this, and the more you do this set of exercises, the easier this is going to be, and you're going to get more movement in there. And again, this is just simply related to the feet. We're not looking yet at how the knee and the hip and alignment plays into foot issues. This is just for the feet, right? Now, after you've done some of those toe scrunchies like this, we're just going to do heel taps. We're going to keep the toes scrunched under, and we're going to lift, 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 right? So if I turn my heels out so you can see a little better what I'm doing, I'm just popping the heels slightly up off the floor, right? You can also do this if you don't want to sit. You can do this lying down with your feet against a wall. So again, lift, 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 lift. Now we're going to keep those toes tucked under, and we're going to tap, 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 tap. 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. It's a lot of work. You may find that these muscles are very fatigued, or your toe muscles are very fatigued, or maybe even the bottom of the foot muscles are very fatigued. Not uncommon. Okay, so we've done our heel raises, we've done our foot raises, our dorsiflexion, we've done our toe pulls. Can we just do this? We didn't do actually toe lifts, right? That's a challenging one for a lot of people too. And a lot of people find like their toes are actually lifted all the time. So you may find trying to just put those toes down is hard for you. Or if you tend to have your feet in this position, you may find that just trying to lift them up is a challenging thing. But if you do have some amount of dexterity in your feet, we're just going to work the toe extensor muscles, which you may also feel working here in the front of the shin. Okay? And so now we're going to work the feet going outside and inside in a little exercise that I like to call sea turtles, right? So we're going to start with the toes pointed slightly in, okay? And the main thing to notice in this exercise is that it's not about what the knees are doing, it's about what from the knee down to the ankle and the foot is doing. We want to try and keep the knees apart. So if you need to put a block or a ball or something in between your knees to keep them stationary, you should do so. Or you can just place your hands on your knees and hold them there. So we're going to start with the foot pointed in, and to whatever degree you can, you're going to try and roll the foot, supinating it, like you're making a bowl of soup. You're going to try and supinate the foot so that the pinky toe is on the mat, on the floor. And from here, you're going to reach the foot down, open it out to the side. Now the big toe is down and the pinky toe is lifted up. And we're going to pick the foot up into that dorsiflexion, bring the toes together and put the toe down. Again, we're going to push open, lift, and down. And so I call this sea turtles because it reminds me, if you've seen a picture of a sea turtle, female sea turtle digging a nest, right? What do? They're pushing the sand out of the way, right? And so that's what you want to think of doing here, that you're pushing down and wide with the feet. And again, we're not using the knees, but this is a lot of rotation and supination and pronation. So a lot of movement in the shin, calf, ankles, sideways movements. Now, we've come here. And so obviously the sea turtle laid her eggs. And so now we're going to cover everything up, right? We're going to pull it in and in and in, right? And really trying to bring it into that supination as we bring the feet in towards each other. We're actually working a muscle underneath the knee here. So as we kind of get into what causes foot instability, this is the movement, a primary movement of a muscle called the popliteus, which I love that name. And it specifically works to rotate the shin on the knee. And if it's dysfunctional, usually as a result of a hip injury, then it can cause a lot of issues with your feet. It also can cause issues with the back of the knee, with hamstrings. It can overwork for underfiring hamstrings, but it can certainly be primary in terms of your feet not working. So there we go. So that's going to do it for today. Our quick little 5-10 minute long video on some basic foot exercises, okay? And I'll follow up with some more later on as we talk about moving up the chain or increasing the dexterity in the foot and the calf.